The book asks this question: how did we lose Springsteen's heartland? How did we lose this middle America? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Read the Right Thing Book Reviews. I'm Eric. Thanks so much for watching. Today, I will be reviewing There Was Nothing You Could Do by Steven Hyden. And this is a book about Bruce Springsteen's album, Born in the USA. I myself became a Springsteen fan probably around 2014 or 2015. I was still in college at the time, and I was branching out, listening to new music. And as I do, I tend to listen to old music. And I tried to discover older artists and really listen to their music. I tried to get into Springsteen before, once in high school, and his music just didn't click. But for whatever reason, this time it really started to click, and I became a big fan. And I also started to read a lot of books and literature about Bruce Springsteen. I read the autobiography Bruce by Peter Ames Carlin, and then a few years after that, Springsteen himself released his autobiography. It's been a golden age for Springsteen fans, I would say, since he released his autobiography. He released that book, then he started a Broadway show. He released that show on Netflix. He's done a few tours. He's even released a couple albums. And he really seems to be in a place where he's being introspective about his career and life. So he's opening up a lot and doing a lot of really cool interviews. And also, people are looking back. So I reviewed a book about Springsteen's album Nebraska last year, and now this book about Born in the USA. There's also a movie coming out about that book about Springsteen's Nebraska. I'm really looking forward to that. The full title of this book is There Was Nothing You Could Do, Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA and the End of the Heartland. To give you a quick summary of the book, I'll just read the flap here on the inside. On June 4th, 1984, Columbia Records released what would become one of the best-selling and most impactful rock albums of all time. An instant classic, Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA would prove to be a landmark not only for the man who made it, but for rock music itself and an even larger American culture over the next 40 years. In There Was Nothing You Could Do, veteran rock critic Steven Hyden shows exactly how this record became such a pivotal part of the American tapestry. Alternating between insightful criticism, meticulous journalism, and personal anecdotes, Hyden delves into the songs that made and didn't make the final cut, including the tracks that wound up on its sister album, 1982's Nebraska. He also investigates the myriad reasons why Springsteen ran from and then embraced the success of his most popular and most misunderstood LP, as he carefully towed the line between balancing his commercial ambitions and being co-opted by the machine. Beyond Springsteen's own career, Hyden also explores the role the album played in a greater historical context, documenting not just where the country was in the tumultuous aftermath of Vietnam and Watergate, but offering a dream of what it might become, and a perceptive forecast of what it turned into decades later. As Springsteen himself reluctantly conceded, many of the working-class, middle-American progressives Springsteen wrote about in 1984 had turned into resentful and scorned Trump voters by the 2010s. And though it wasn't the future he imagined, the cautionary warnings tucked within Springsteen's heartfelt lyrics prove that the chaotic turmoil of our current moment has been a long time coming. This book was originally published in the summer of 2024, and I've been wanting to review it for some time now. So in this video, I'll tell you my thoughts and my likes and dislikes. Steven Hyden is the author of several rock and roll books, including Twilight of the Gods and Your Favorite Band Is Killing Me. He's written for many different places, including New York Times Magazine, Rolling Stone, The Ringer, Washington Post, Billboard, Pitchfork, and many others. The book asks this question: how did we lose Springsteen's heartland? How did we lose this middle America? This middle that Springsteen envisioned and wrote about in his work. It's a critique of music, but also of America. Hyden assumes that America has been in decline since the 80s, and that really depends on who you ask. But this book is a journey, both personally, musically, and politically. So with all those things mixing, the tone of this book is very interesting. It's not just about music and Bruce Springsteen fandom, but it's about American identity and American politics. The part that I enjoyed most is when Hyden delves into the history of the songs and the making of the album, and also when he offers personal anecdotes of how he discovered Springsteen and how he grew with these songs. Springsteen, during this album, he was really at the apex of his career. He was as big as Taylor Swift is today, filling stadiums and really doing massive numbers in sales and ticket sales. And also back then, not everything was as politicized as it is today. Springsteen could represent the liberal as well as conservative voters, and all could congregate in his stadiums and appreciate the music and the performance. This album, like the recap said, is a very misunderstood album, especially the title track. Born in the USA has a big patriotic sound that was crafted to be played in huge stadiums, to be sung by 80,000 rock and roll fans. The chorus can make you feel patriotic, but the lyrics and the message of the song are about a disgruntled Vietnam vet who feels abandoned by his own country. So that was something I did like about the book. I loved how he delved into the musical history and all of the songs that did and didn't make the cut. It made listening to the album really enjoyable, and I listened to this album so much while I was reading it. It was probably the album I listened to most in 2024. However, the portion of the book exploring American politics and the middle never really landed for me. I think the strengths lie in the author's own story and how he discovers Springsteen and really talking about the music. Trying to bridge this gap between the music and American identity and politics, it just didn't seem well constructed to me. That was just me. I'm sure other readers really enjoyed that aspect. And also, I wasn't alive in the 80s, so it's hard for me to really juxtapose what life was like back then versus now. I guess you could say people of my age, we were born into this political arena where, everything's politicized and everything's so left and right defined. So who should read this book? I would say any fan of Bruce Springsteen will definitely love this book, or anyone who enjoys reading about rock and roll history. But I don't think I would recommend this book to someone not interested in those things. I'm really glad I read this book, so I would say that this book was the right thing for me. And I do want to check out some of Steven Hyden's other work. I think he's a very good writer and really talented in exploring music. I don't think it was quite as good as Warren Zane's book on Nebraska, but that might also be just because I really love the Nebraska album. If you would like to read this book, you can support the show by buying this book through a link in the description that I'll post. Or check out some of my other book reviews on this channel. So that was my quick review of There Was Nothing You Could Do by Steven Hyden. Did you read this book? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment letting me know. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, read the right thing.